uh, ensuring the patient safety in our clinical trials, whether it's the informed consent process or whether paying the compensation to the patients in the case of the injury. We are setting up some global good benchmarks. Pharmacovigilance, again, India is perhaps a very large destination. Today, major global companies have established their pharmacovigilance outsourcing operations to India. India, our own pharmacovigilance regulations has come a long way, and we have a fairly robust regulation in place. When our own companies are in the process of implementing the pharmacovigilance, hence, in India, the growth of the need and requirement of the pharmacovigilance professional is growing, and large number of other countries in the world are implementing the PV new regulations, and that will open up more opportunities for us. The same is happening in the other areas of biostats, medical devices, regulatory affairs, outsourcing. You pick the area in life sciences sector, and today India is the big hub. I'll be going into a lot more details, but before I do that, I'm very pleased to introduce you to Dr. Nitesh Goyal. Dr. Nitesh Goyal is a senior, experienced pharmacovigilance professional, uh, has worked in the global pharmacovigilance domain for the last several years now, and he is one of the few people who understands PV 360 degree, who understand what happens from a regulation to case processing to aggregate report writing, signal detection, medical review, audits and inspection. He's one of the few people I always look up to talk whatever happening globally in PV. Uh, he's a medical doctor by education, by training, but in-depth now experience in global pharmacovigilance. Dr. Goyal will be talking to us today on pharmacovigilance. What is pharmacovigilance? And what are the various processes? How it's opening up the career opportunities for you guys. And so over to you, Dr. Goyal, for the rest of the proceedings on your presentation on pharmacovigilance.
Thank you, Mr. Shani. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nitish Goyal, and I'm a physician by qualification. I've been in PV for around 12 years now, and I will be speaking on pharmacovigilance today, as Mr. Shani mentioned. So I'll be sharing a few slides for your reference. Let me just quickly share my screen. Is my deck visible?
Yes, Dr. Goyal. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'll quickly touch upon pharmacovigilance as an overview, but still trying to summarize everything in the short time that we have today. So basically, pharmacovigilance, you would already know because you're attending. I'm assuming everybody would know what pharmacovigilance stands for. It's basically a science, right? So it's a healthcare science which deals with the activities related to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or any other possible drug related problems. So everything related to drugs, and drugs, by drugs I mean pharmacological drugs, devices, vaccines, cosmetics, everything. So all of these kind of drugs, this also includes biologics. So all of the type of drugs are included when I say drugs from here on. So this is just a definition that we have, but when we go into pharmacovigilance, it's more than the definition, I would say. So whenever a new drug is released onto the market, there is lots of safety issues, lots of safety there is lesser understanding of the overall safety profile of that drug, because Why? Because that drug has directly come on from a clinical trial kind of a stage and is now going into the vast population for usage. And whenever the scope increases, the adverse effects associated with the drugs also increase. So once marketed, the drug is openly available for use. That is why, as I mentioned, there's a major safety concern. So, in order to prevent unnecessary suffering by the patients, it is essential to have a drug safety monitoring system in place in every country. So, as you would also know, pharmacovigilance is a niche space when you look at the overall pharma industry. But that said, uh, there are still countries where pharmacovigilance is not that stringent, practiced not that stringently. So there are countries such as the US, European Union, where there are strict norms, legal enforced norms associated with penalties, and also there is provision to penalize the pharma sponsors in case they do not meet the safety norms as per the regulation. So pharmacovigilance becomes all the more important for these markets where the drug industry is heavily regulated. So PV, as you see it, it's not a single person's responsibility. There are multiple responsible people, responsible parties to it. So the various parties associated are a pharmaceutical company that is the actual sponsor of a particular drug in various regions. These regions may be across the globe, but that said, other parties to this responsibility are the regulatory authorities. By regulatory authorities, you mean the authorities that legally enforce pharmacovigilance laws in various countries. Then we have doctors and nurses who are called the healthcare professionals or HCPs. They are responsible to the patients, along with pharmacists who dispense these medications. Right. So as I mentioned, there are regulatory agencies in various countries. These are the major regulatory agencies I could think of, and apart from these, there are others as well. But these are the most important ones that are generally the most frequently associated to various healthcare what you call policy making and so on. So I will just name a few. Like there is the FDA in the USA, then there is the EMA in the European Union, MHRA in the UK, and TGA in Australia. Giving you just an overview of how pharmacovigilance information flows. It's an overall, just a very high level diagram, just a flow chart to make you understand. So, starting with the expert team. So, there is a team that regulates everything pharmacovigilance, it deals with that. So, whenever there is information, new information that comes in, so it is medically reviewed by the MRs, the medical reviewers, and it goes to the DSAs and executives. So DSA executives is the first step, I would say, where this information, the raw information, is processed, and these are the various career opportunities that we are looking at and discussing today. So entry level DSAs and executives, they um, process this information that is coming in and make it into meaningful information and outcomes. So from DSA, the information flows to other medical advisors in the team, in the pharmacovigilance team, who make because the information is raw, still processed, but not medically reviewed. So what they do is they provide a medical perspective to the whole information, and then it is again moved on for risk mitigation. So, if there is any risk associated with that information that is processed, the risk is mitigated. And side by side, there is this regulatory authority as well, which directly provides information to the medical advisor team, as well as when there is a communication going to the regulatory authority. So this communication step and regulatory step, it happens two ways mostly. So whatever company or the CRO is doing or processing this information, it goes to the regulatory authority, and the regulatory authority sends back that information. So this is called a two-way communication between the regulatory authority and the CRO or the sponsor. Next, this communication is what is the ultimate aim. So this communication goes to the patient as well as the doctors. For patient, because it is important to keep the patient aware of what the risks are associated with the drugs, and to the doctor so that they can actually make informed decisions about prescribing drugs to patients with risk factors, and also they can mitigate the risk at their level, because ultimately the doctor is going to prescribe the drug and lies with the patient. So doctors and HCPs become the final targets of most of the communication that goes out from the pharma industry. So this is the overall information flow cycle. Then coming to the PV process flow, so that was the information flow that was of the entire what you call the pharmacovigilance information cycle. But when you actually do pharmacovigilance operations or the hardcore DSA or executive job, so this is the process that is followed. So I'll start from the left side, which is as you can see in dark green text, it mentions various sources of information. So these sources could be spontaneous reports, literature reports, clinical trial data, regulatory reports, and licensed partners. So these will we have we can have more information around these, but I think this webinar scope is slightly broader, so I would refrain from going into details. But just to let you know, these are the various sources of information from where the information comes in. So this information comes and goes to the ICSR processing step. So this is the main step that happens at the DSA executive level. So ICSR stands for Individual Case Safety Reports. So these are kind of cases that you see in the hospitals. So these are electronic forms of those cases. You can whenever there's a patient in a hospital, similarly we have a ICSR dedicated to a single patient in pharmacovigilance. So there are various steps, as you can see in black text. It says triage, data entry, query process, medical input, and case closure. So these are the various steps that are there in ICSR processing. Information from ICSR processing is used to develop aggregate reports. So aggregate reports are different other type of reports. These are as the term suggests, aggregate. So this has information from these ICSRs that are processed for a particular period of time. This period of time could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, up to 5 years also. So various aggregate reports are also submitted to various health authorities or regulatory agencies. And some of the reports names you can see PBRER, DSUR, RMP, etc. So aggregate report data as well as ICSR processing data is also used to uh, do signal generation. So signals we'll talk about later in the deck or in the webinar, but the signal generation is also part of the overall process, and this data is used to actually update various labels that you see in medicines. Excuse me. So information from aggregate reports, how it this text in green bubbles, this is basically the end result of whatever pharmacovigilance we are doing. So this may result in submissions, submission, as in ICSRs are submitted to the health authorities, aggregate reports are submitted. Apart from that, review of marketing status. What this means is, depending on the benefit risk profile of a particular drug, the marketing status is kept up to date, whether the drug will continue to be on the market or whether it will be recalled from the market, is what we mean by review marketing status. So this is an important step. Then amend prescribing information. Prescribing information is the what you call the leaflet that is there in various drugs. You must have also seen while taking drugs. So that is whenever there is new information about safety or risks regarding the drug, it is amended and updated. Then risk minimization measures. These are the measures that are implemented to minimize the risks that are associated or newly found risks that are associated with the drug. So post-marketing new risks emerge. So that kind of risks are minimized with these measures. Next is worldwide regulatory reports. So again, these reports are used to submit safety information across the globe. And last is inquiry response. So inquiries are nothing but the two-way communication we spoke about in the last slide between the health authorities. So this is the overall view, overall bird's eye view, I would say, of the entire PV process. PV is nothing but this entire slide, I would say. So just a brief, I'll touch base about each of the items. First is the ICSRs, individual case safety reports. So there are various sources, as I previously mentioned. So unsolicited reports are the reports from um, spontaneous sources, or you can say doctors, nurses, pharmacists. They directly report adverse effects occurring in their patients to the regulatory authorities or to the sponsors. Then we have literature reports. Literature reports are nothing but medical literature, scientific literature, published or unpublished. So information from there constitutes literature reports. Next is the reports from other sources. So any other sources apart from these they fall in other reports. Then we have solicited reports. Solicited are those derived from organized data collection systems like clinical trials, non-interventional programs, or post-approval patient use programs. Periodic reporting is also called aggregate reporting or cumulative reporting. So, as I mentioned, it's a compilation of safety data over a period of time, and it, like, as opposed to single case, it involves only ICSRs. Like it does not only involve ICSRs. ICSRs are just the report case reports. However, aggregate reports also includes data apart from the ICSRs. Then preparation and submission of safety information on a periodic or timely basis. So it could be 3 months, 6 months, depending on the marketing authorization status of the product. So if a product is newly authorized or newly approved to be on the market, then these reports are submitted more frequently, and less frequently if they are like on the market for several years. Then these reports also play an important role in the risk benefit evaluation, and they provide a broader view of the safety program. Coming to risk management plans, a medicine is approved, and that medicine is approved on the basis of specific indications. And at the time of approval, the risk benefit profile should be positive. So the RMP, the risk management plan, it contains three sections basically: the safety specification, the pharmacovigilance plan, and the risk minimization plan. It's beyond the scope of today's discussion, but just to give you an overview of the RMP, it's basically to understand what the risks of a particular um, drug is. So you can call it a document that contains everything about what a drug could do when you take that drug. So whatever adverse effects the drug can have, it is in the risk management plan. And this risk management plan is a important document from the perspective that it is also mandated by the European Union. Whenever there is a new drug that has to be authorized in the European Union, this RMP is mandated by the EMA. So EMA wants that you submit an RMP along with the dossier that is submitted for the drug approval. So this is that important a document. Last but not the least, signal detection. So, what is a signal? I don't know if many of you would know, but it's information that arises from multiple sources and also includes observations and experiments and suggests a new potentially causal association or new aspect of a known association between an intervention. Intervention here refers to the drug or the medicine and an event or set of related events, adverse or beneficial. So both adverse as well as beneficial can be considered as signals. That is the overall definition. So just to simplify it, uh, whatever adverse effects they come up in the limelight after the drug is approved, so those directly they have the potential to cause a significant amount of risk to the patients. So those new adverse events, which were not previously known at the time of clinical trials, they constitute signals. So when I say new adverse events, it does not mean that they necessarily are known to be caused due to the drug. The cause of their causation could be anything else also, but since we know that the patient took our drug, so there is a possibility that that those adverse events are caused by our drug, right? So signal detection is a kind of an activity that is done to keep a handle on all of these newly uh, known adverse events or new aspects of previously known adverse events. So it is linked to the identification of potential risks as early as possible and making risk minimization plans. So based on the risks that we see from signal detection, elaborate risk minimization plans are also made. So signal detection is one of the most important objectives of pharmacovigilance. So just understand that whatever we do, right from collection of information to ICSR case processing to aggregate reporting to risk management, everything boils down to the point that we are to identify signals, and based on these signals, the various activities or various risk minimization processes will be implemented. So signal detection is the ultimate aim, and the like I would say a step ahead of what signal detection is. It leads to patient safety. So ultimate aim is patient safety, and signal detection is the overall summary of pharmacovigilance. I would say that. Right. So that was just an overview and about pharmacovigilance and I would say career progression in pharmacovigilance that you would be most interested in the webinar. So I am a physician and I completed my MBBS. After MBBS, I somehow could not get into MD because of other reasons. Not because I could not get in, but there were other reasons I had to choose an alternative branch. So one of my friends suggested that you could even like it was an upcoming branch in 2012 when I joined when I completed my MBBS. So I thought of giving it a chance on my friend's suggestion, and it clicked, and today it's been 12 years and I've been fortunate enough to actually be at this position that I'm guiding uh, you and some of the others in pharmacovigilance, and it's my fortunate. Uh, I would say I'm obliged that I'm here today. But just to give you an understanding, it's a great perspective for I would say life science industry professionals, for pharmacists, uh, dentists, and other science professionals, MBBS, MD as well. So when you look at the starting positions, as I mentioned, DSAs and executives in pharmacovigilance is a great, I would say, great starting point. So I would just go to the next slide, which gives an overview. So whenever you take up a starting position in pharmacovigilance, the starting salaries are like the average salaries. It's on your screen, so you can see that. Um, so it's a continuous process where the better you will do, the better understanding you have of the processes of pharmacovigilance. There's no limit. The sky is the limit, as they say. So with time you could become a senior, and it goes on to becoming like associates, executives, then team leaders, people managers, then project managers, senior managers, and so on, and it goes up to being the CEO. So I've seen people growing from team leader or senior manager to even CEOs. So sky is the limit, and pharmacovigilance is a very lucrative option for life science professionals, especially. But as in any field, it demands a lot of I would say astute understanding of the what you call various nuances of how life sciences work, health industry works, how PV works specifically. And I think Cliniminds is doing a great job already in getting people ready for future jobs. They say AI is going to take over majority of the jobs, but frankly, my understanding and my knowledge about PV says that there is a human factor that cannot be replaced in PV. So there has to be always be an oversight where that human understanding of the medical nuances will always be there. So I think it's a still a long road when AI will be fully integrated into PV. Till then, I still feel it's a very lucrative option. So all the best to everyone out here who is trying to get into pharmacovigilance. And that's the end of my deck here today. So thank you everyone for listening to me. With that, I'll turn it back to Mr. Shani.
Thank you, Dr. Goyal. That was very nice, very interesting presentation. Thanks a lot. And what we're going to do, I'll just have spend few more minutes with the program participants today on the other areas, and then we'll take up the questions. I'll just share my screen now. So after the very exciting presentation by Dr. Goyal, I will now take you through the different aspects of the global pharmaceutical industry and which are the branches which are making impact in India in terms of the investments, the new investments which are coming to India, where India is becoming part of the global research, and also how it is creating the employment opportunities. If you see the global pharmaceutical industry in 2023, the market size was $1.48 trillion. So it's one of the largest, growing industries globally, and this continues to grow. So one of the best things when you see the global recession and where the number of industries are seeing the recession, it is important to see that this particular sector is growing very fast, and it global average when you say uh, anywhere between 3 to 6%. You're looking at the countries like India, which are about uh, 11-12% growth. So India is definitely continues to lead the pack of the global growth. And at this pace, if the industry continues to grow, the market size would be $1.9 trillion. Now, the global clinical trials industry, we keep hearing about a lot of conversation that AI is going to take away the jobs. It's going to, impact the research. No, the AI is today in the research has very small role to play to augment certain processes which were taking more time. However, as Dr. Goel mentioned earlier, the the human part of this industry, whether it's a clinical research or pharmacovigilance, a lot of these industry require human intervention. It's very critical to have. And the way the clinical trials, the global research industry, if you see it is close to about $300 billion now. And out of that, the pure clinical trials are close to about $47.2 billion. And that industry, again, is growing at about average, if you see the global growth at 5.7%. But when you see the countries like India, we are going at 15 to 18% in this country. So India continues to be shining star in the global trials industry. And we interact with a lot of industry globally, and large number of the pharmaceutical companies are planning to bring their research projects to India. And India is getting good number of clinical trials now, but this number is going to grow substantially, and by uh, this global industry would be $73.5 billion in the next few years. And India, this market will continue to grow to 3.5. And at this pace, will grow to $3.5 billion. And every time you talk about these numbers, please understand, every time you see the growth in the industry, you are going to see the growth in number of people needed. So you require more number of people. Every time a new clinical trial comes to industry to come to India, it creates several jobs. It creates hundreds of jobs actually. So every time one new research project, which means a multi-centric trials in India, it will create hundreds of new jobs. So every time we get, so this is how the compounding effect you will see of the clinical trials business. Now, what we are going to see, what are the various verticals, what are the various options which are being created. So if you go back about 20 years back, the limited career options, if you do the life sciences or B Farm, M Farm, uh, then the jobs were more into medical representative, you prepare for the drug inspector, or you go and work in the pharmaceutical industry plant. The job opportunities were not there substantially at that stage because the research was not happening much in the country, and the other verticals which came to India as a result of the booming clinical trial business. So now there are a lot of opportunities. You've seen clinical trials, it's large growing business, and that brings along with it the clinical data management. Clinical data management is a part and parcel of the uh, clinical research business. When we conduct the clinical trials, we generate a lot of data. Now, this data is for the patients who are participating, subjects who are participating in the clinical trials. We generate that data. How we integrate this data in the form where we can utilize this for the further analysis. How we ensure the data which we are integrating into the system is correct, accurate. How we analyze this data. And that entire science is the clinical data management and SAS, statistical programming, where we then statistically, when the data, clinical trial data is becomes becomes a part in the clinical data management process. How then we extract that information and do the statistical programming, and then the biostatisticians, they make the reports, clinical trial reports. So all these opportunities in the last 20 years plus have emerged in India in a big way. I won't take a lot of time on pharmacovigilance. Dr. Goyal gave fairly comprehensive view. It's industry which will grow in India. Not only our own opportunity, India's own regulations, but large number of countries now implementing the PV regulations. And India in the last 2 decades have developed the expertise in pharmacovigilance. We have perhaps produced some of the best global pharmacovigilance professionals in this country. Hence, if you go and attend the global conference on pharmacovigilance, probably 30 to 40, 50% people you may find in these conferences are Indian professionals who are doing extremely well. So great opportunity for all the students from the pharmacy background or the BDS, MBBS, BHMS, BMS background. It's a great opportunity to grow. Another opportunity I'll pick here is the regulatory affairs. Now, drug regulatory affairs is not something new, as some of you may say. It's not something new, but it has grown substantially in India because today we are pharmacy to the world. There is a saying for India, India is the pharmacy to the world for the generic drugs. And we are one of the largest exporters today of the pharmacy, of the drugs to various countries. We export to over 150, 140 countries that India is today exporting the drugs. And in many drugs, we have the leadership position. We are able to save costs. We are able to provide the affordable drugs to the world. And one of the case studies is the HIV drugs. When the world was suffering with the HIV and the drugs were drugs were very expensive. Therapy which could cost per day therapy could cost anywhere between 100, 150, 160, $180. We first time in the world brought a $1 a day treatment, and that changed India's perspective with the rest of the world. And today we are producing, you name the drug, whether it's oncology, cancer drugs, cardiovascular, diabetes, we have the best drugs available in India and we are exporting. So that has increased the scope of the regulatory affairs professionals. You're dealing with large number of regulations. You're dealing with the harmonized regulations. You're dealing with the multiple countries today where there are different set of regulations. So today the role of a regulatory affairs professionals have increased substantially. Second reason is the outsourcing. The more and more global companies are setting up their outsourcing operations for the regulatory affairs in India. Because another reason of setting up this outsourcing is not the cost. Cost arbitrage is there. We have the cost benefit. We have the cost benefit available, but we are producing the one of the finest workforce today in the world, and India is able to service, to be able to cater to the global pharmaceutical companies for their regulatory affairs needs. Now, regulatory affairs is the department which starts from the very early stage, from the preclinical stage when the drug is going to the lab and we are into the animal studies, and then when we conduct the clinical trials, all these areas are highly regulated. The clinical trials have got the regulations for each country, and in India today have a very fairly robust regulation. So if you are conducting the clinical trials in India, we need to follow the regulations of India. Then the drug goes to the manufacturing. Once the drug is approved, ready for the marketing, receive the approval, NDA from the DCGI and the CDSCO, we are ready to manufacture the drug. Now, when we manufacture, we are bound by the good manufacturing practices. And there are strong regulations today to ensure the drugs which are being manufactured in India are are uh, as per the uh, regulations, as per the GMP regulations, as per the so that the drug which is uh, coming to the market is manufactured properly with the proper regulations and guidelines. And when we follow these regulations, and if we are manufacturing the drug for India, we follow our own Schedule M. But when we are following the manufacturing the drugs for US or Europe, we have to follow their GMP regulations as well. If our plant is approved by the FDA or our plant is approved by MHRA in UK or EU GMP, then we must ensure that we are following their standards as well, their GMP regulations as well. So it's a fairly complex process, and that's where the role of the drug regulatory affairs professionals is going to be important. Then the drug comes to the market. Pricing. Pricing is all controlled. So we must learn the pricing regulations in India, and there are several other countries. If you are exporting, you want to ensure that your drug is not violating any pricing regulations of a country. Then comes the post-marketing, and then in between all your marketing regulations, your marketing today, the drugs, you're not violating any policies of the government or the guidelines given by the government for the marketing guidelines, packaging, how to do packaging. All this is part of the regulatory. Then we come to the very important point of regulatory is the pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance, it's not just standalone subject in itself, it's well integrated with the entire drug development process, drug marketing process, and the post-marketing, safety surveillance, which we need to do as a mandatory, as a regulation. Uh, it's an integral part of the regulatory process. Uh, so it's a regulatory is a very large area of operation today, and all the students who are from the MSc, BSc, Life Sciences, B Pharm, M Pharms, for them it's a great opportunity to be a part of this journey in the regulatory affairs. Another area which is in the last few years in India is growing is the business analytics. So a lot of you would have heard the business analyst today. You talk about the retail industry, you talk about uh, transportation, cabs, Ola, Ubers, uh, telecom industry, financial services industry. All these industry use analytics to make decisions. But in healthcare, in pharma domain, it's all the more important. Today, a large number of decisions in the pharmaceutical industry are made uh, using the business analytics techniques. And in all these, you need professionals from the medical background, life sciences graduates and postgraduates, BDS, BHMS, BMS, and B Pharm, M Pharm, PharmD. All these qualifications have a very important role to play in the business analytics domain. So let's understand a couple of examples how business analytics is used in the pharma domain. I, as a company, let's say we're a large global drug company, we need to make a decision that in the next, we are going to invest our next $2 billion. As you all are familiar by now, to bring in a new drug to the market, it costs you about $2 billion. It's an 8 to 10 years journey, or sometimes a little more. Uh, to bring the drug to the market and make it a successful drug, blockbuster drug, or the drug which is able to solve the medical need, you want to ensure that the drug is successfully, brought to the market. Now, how do you make such decision which involves $2 billion, which involves or more, or which involves your 8 to 10 years of journey? How do we take this decision? And this is where the role of a business analyst comes into play. As a business analyst, we would collect the data which is there in public domain with the help of secondary research, the PubMed, a lot of you may have used and a lot of you would use in your journey in the industry, the PubMed. PubMed is a platform where you will find the all global journals. So you will have target disease, you ever know now you have which are the molecules uh, you need to target on. So you will do the analysis on the available therapies, which are the new therapies which are under research. You will analyze those because you're investing and you do not wish to invest if a lot of other companies have already invested into these drugs. So you do not wish to be in competition with a drug, with a company which has already spent 6 7 years already and you are investing. So you want to rule out a similar competition. So you will then analyze what is the patient pool available. You will do the disease information, and you will do the analysis about the available drugs, new drugs, pricing models, what are the regulations, how the drug is priced, how the drug is reimbursed to the patients. You will do a lot of such analysis and then come to the conclusion whether you want to invest those $2 billion in a specific drug. All this requires the business analytics role, a role of a pharmaceutical business analyst. It doesn't stop here. You bring the drug to the market and you are already marketing the drug. Now, how do you ensure that you are, competing with the other competitors? How is your pricing? How they are marketing the drugs? And then you do all this analysis post marketing using the business analytics tools. The sales of your drug globally is going down, or in any specific territory, it's going down. How do we ensure that, what are the reasons why your sales are going down? What are the reasons, technical, scientific reasons, business reasons? The role of business analysts come into the play. So today, like clinical research, like pharmacovigilance, data management, regulatory, this is another one big opportunity for the students who want to build career in the pharmaceutical domain. Other areas where you can grow is medical devices. Now that's fairly new, only about last 4 5 6 years, where we are doing now structured medical device. And I think COVID was a great opportunity for India, and India used that opportunity. But till date, we are still about 75% of the import of the drugs. We are still importing about 75% of our, or 70% of our medical device, medical equipment requirements. And for the country like India, where we have a population where we have a population today, diseases are there. So so much dependency on the international, imports from the other countries is not good. So we now have good policy in place, and COVID gave the boost to this policy. And today we are, manufacturing a lot of medical equipment, a lot of medical devices in India, and a lot of these parks, the medical device parks, government is giving incentives to the private sector, to the foreign investors who are going to invest in India in the medical devices domain. And this offers excellent opportunity of the growth. So next big opportunity, what you're going to see is medical devices. Uh, your qualifications, whether it's the B.Pharm, M.Pharm, MScs, biotechs, BScs, B.Tech, biotechs, your qualifications are relevant, and this industry in the medical devices is going to offer you the major opportunity. So this industry requires formal skill set. So if you're planning to work in this industry, it's good to acquire. It's not mandatory. Nothing is mandatory. You can be a great marketeer without doing MBA. You can run organizations without doing operations MBA. But it's always good to have skill sets. It's good to learn skill sets formally, because that will give you edge over lakhs and lakhs of students are passing each year. Every year we have lakhs of students, hundreds and thousands of students are passing out. Are they ready for job roles? Most not, because our colleges, our education system does not prepare students for the specific job roles in the industry. And today, if you see all the reports in the recent economic survey just before the budget, even the government data is reflecting that most of our uh, the graduates are not well equipped with the right skill sets. So it's not about this industry, it's about spectrum, across spectrum, whether it's a financial services, retail, manufacturing, IT. You pick the industry, and today we do not have the students who are well equipped with that skill set. So when you go and hit the job market, you're ready for the interviews, make sure that you acquire the skills formally or informally, whatever works for you best. Informally learning, the advantages are you learn from the best. You learn from the industry experts, people who've spent a lot of years in the industry. They will teach you, they will train you. They'll train you for the specific job role. Ensure that the programs which you do are properly accredited and certified by various government and the non-government agencies. But apart from these skills program, today we are also going to talk about the what other journal skill sets you must have today. English communication. You heard all these things many times. I'm not repeating, I'm not sort of saying anything new, but I can tell you only from my experience that this industry is pharmaceutical life sciences is heavily English driven. We are working for the global clients. Even the Indian system works largely on English. We hear a lot of conversation these days about the vernacular languages, the role of vernacular languages in the education. That is all fine. We must speak our mother tongue at homes. But when it comes to business, English is the only connecting global language. So we must ensure that we speak well, we understand well, we should be have ability to listen English well, understand it, and we should be able to speak uh, right English. We do not need to speak English with the proper American or a British accent. We should speak neutral accent, uh, and we should be able to convey to our, recruiters, employers, clients, colleagues in the normal English. When you join companies, you may speak different languages if you're posted in Maharashtra, Gujarat, or in Tamil Nadu, or in Andhra or Kerala. You may speak different languages in the office environment, but our business language, a single language, is today English. So ensure that you all improve that. Presentation skills, communication skills, extremely important. In the life sciences sector, we work with large number of stakeholders. We work with regulators. We work with hospitals, investigators. We work with pharmaceutical sponsored companies, marketing authorization holders, regulators, CROs. Everywhere you will require, you need to present something. You need to present your project, what you are doing. You need to be part of a larger group where you all work together on specific projects. And everywhere, presentation, communication skills are very important. One of the critical skill sets, which is make or break, I would say, the keyboard skill set. And ensure, when I say keyboard, I do not mean telephonic keyboards. I do not mean WhatsApp or Instagram or those keyboards. I am talking about the traditional computer laptops. Ensure that you have the right skill sets in the Word. You are able to type in Word, Microsoft Word. You are able to present some basic, analyze some basic information on Excel. You are able to present some basic information using PowerPoint. These are the extremely basic bread and butter, dal roti skills everyone must have. Everyone should know these skills, because all the work which we do in the office environment, we do not use computer phones, telephones at all. We do not use WhatsApp for communicating with a colleague. We use emails, formal emails. So formal email communication skill sets using computer is extremely important. A lot of this, what I'm today is speaking, is not something, rocket science or something new, but this will make or break almost 60% of your interview. Maybe 50 to 60% of interview will be make or break due to this skill sets. Soft skill, time management, team working, very important. I do not operate alone. I should not be I. In this industry, we work, we. We are part of the global team. We are the part of a specific project team. We are not lone wolves. We don't work alone. We work with the team, large team. So it's a part, you should have ability to communicate in the team, work as a part of team with, minimal confronting attitude, or no confronting rather attitude, if you operate and work in a larger team. Time management. You have all heard this word every now, day in, day out on, but I'll give you the very practical point of view to this. When you go for the job interview, and your job interview time is 9:30, and you have been invited into the Cognizant campus. Now 9:30, you're very happy, you reach 9:20, you said you are 10 minutes before. But to your shock, you will find that you may not be able to on that day even be able to give the interview. Because from the security gate, when you reach at 9:20 and your interview is at 9:30, by the time you clear the interview security gate, you reach reception. These are the large campuses. By the time you reach the 10th floor, 12th floor, and clear the reception and reach the person you are going to report for the interview, it might take you 30 minutes, and you might lose the interview opportunity that day. So make sure that you utilize your time well. Make sure that if you are going for an interview, reach there much ahead of time. Give yourself 10, 15 minutes extra to drink a glass of water, just go to the restrooms, get fresh, and you're ready for the very important interview for your life. So time management, the a small example from the pharmaceutical industry, it will make you realize that every 1 day delay in launching a new drug, it costs you $1 million. $1 million means it today's value 8.5 crore rupees. 1 day delay, if you are able to not able to launch a drug on specific day, it costs you that much. So that's the value of time management. As a young professionals, be flexible, be mobile. Do not end over the today the work from home for freshers or for rather most jobs is over. There are no more pressure work from home jobs. That was a very unique situation which we had on 21st of March in 2020, a very unique health situation worldwide where we were forced to work from home. It was never a method. The method was go to office in the morning, carry your lunch, carry your bottle of water, uh, go to the go to office, work with colleagues, learn from your colleagues. The best learning in the life today will come from your colleagues. It will not come from your family members if you work from home, because your colleagues will give you different perspective, different, uh, you know, their experiences, how they grew in the organization, how they worked in the organization. Uh, your colleagues will teach you a lot of life skills. It's not just the work skills, but life skills. A lot of things will come from your colleagues. So go back, be ready to work in offices again. Be mobile, uh, be ready to work in any city. If you live in any city, in that city, if you're getting options, it's fine. If you're not getting options in that city, be ready. I and a lot of people in this industry, in the life sciences today, if you see, we have worked in multiple cities. We have today I can pick up a phone in Chennai right now and get my work done, because in the last 30 years I took opportunity to work in various cities, developed good relationships with people, with medical community, with pharma community. And today I can pick up a phone in Chandigarh, Bombay, Chennai, Sydney, Miami, Canada. I can pick phone and talk to people and get their opinion on anything. So it will teach you a lot. Trust me, what I'm going to tell you is it's not something, it's not that one city will never allow you to grow. If you go and work in various cities, build your network, you will learn a lot, cultures and everything else. Very briefly, I'll take your 5 more minutes. The Cliniminds, established in the year 2004. Today, we are 20 years and we have trained over 10,000 professionals. This year include by April, May, I think the data is 10,500 plus professionals who have been trained, placed in the industry. We have excellent methods of training, technology which is used to provide students hands-on experience in learning, live interactive sessions, hands-on training on the softwares. You learn and work with the top experts from the industry. The Cliniminds programs are accredited by the Life Sciences Sector Skill Development Council, LSSDC, which is the part of the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Our programs are under the Skill India, uh, and all these programs, you will get the certifications from the government authority, LSSDC, and the Cliniminds certifications. uh, these are some of our placement partners where we place. This is not the full list. Full list goes into almost 200 plus now clients where our students get placed. These are the some of companies where the students go and work. These are all top. Some of the names, if you will see, these are the all top names where students go and work. So today, over the years, the organization won various awards since uh, 2011 to 2023. Awards over 12, 13 awards have been won by us. The programs are accredited in US. Apart from India, we have an international accreditation called uh, Accreditation Council for Clinical Research Education in US. We are also the chapter for the Drug Information Association. We are backed up by the very solid academic advisory board. Today, large number of senior level professionals from India and overseas are our on advisory board. They guide us, they tell us about what is happening in the world, what new technologies are coming, what new regulations are coming, what new processor companies are following. We learn from these top experts and then implement all these changes into our programs. So Cliniminds has got a well-established full-time and visiting experts team who will teach you various subjects. They're all experts. They come from the different companies, different areas of expertise. We also have a very sound technology partnerships for the softwares you are going to learn as a part of the program. And as a part of the programs, you learning these softwares are extremely important because that's how you're going to work in this sector. When you're not going to become programmers, not all of you. There may be some courses where you train to become the programmers, but a lot of these technology platforms we have built in along with all our programs. There are companies which will help you grow, where you'll get internships. So that's the brief about Cliniminds. We are 20 years now old. One of the important things we do is our placements, placements of the students. We pay a lot of attention from the word go. As soon as you join the program, there are teams which will analyze your strengths, weaknesses, and build your capabilities after that. And prepare you for the interviews. We arrange mock interviews, prepare you for the real world interviews, and then we arrange the interviews with the companies. We assure good quality placement support. Students get good opportunities to work, and hence I think 20 years journey 20 years journey proves that we have a solid alumni today. A senior most alumni, in fact, is spent almost 18, 19 years in the industry and is on over 1 crore rupee package, heads a very senior company. A lot of entrepreneurs have come out, students who did these courses, they worked in the industry and now they're running own company. So we have a very good alumni today, which is very successful. And with this, I'll bring my presentation to end, and you will today, student network is in over 25, 30 countries where the students are located. These are you can take up the WhatsApp number, you can take up the email ID, and we will now open the in the chat box. If you will see, you can copy paste that information, and you can connect with us on WhatsApp. Email ID is info@cliniminds.com, which is still there on the screen. I will now, if you have questions, we'll be happy to take questions. Now you can unmute. We will allow you to unmute and you can ask questions.
Thank you. So we can take questions one by one. If so.
Or you can write questions also, or you can speak actually. I think that's better. We'll prefer that if you speak.
So now everyone will have access to unmute their mic, and If anyone has any queries regarding the career, anything, we can answer.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Yes. Yes, please. Yeah.
Uh, could you please explain the flow of the process? Means I'm a pharmacovigilance professional, but I'm new professional. I just joined the company, but just wanted to know the how the process means. First we do the safety entry. Later, what is the means aggregate reporting, signal detection, all those things means how the flow goes. I just want to understand that.
Good question. Dr. Goel, you would like to respond?
Sure, thank you. So yes, as I previously mentioned as well, so ICSR case processing is the basic step that is initially done in pharmacovigilance. So whenever ICSR case processing is completed, the information from ICSR goes into aggregate report. So I would say the immediate next step is aggregate reporting. From aggregate reporting, there are associated, I would say, verticals within pharmacovigilance, such as risk management, signal detection, and I would also say overall like health authority communication. So, as a career opportunity, I would say it's better to start off with the basic step, that is ICSR case processing if you are a pharma professional. However, if you are a medical professional such as MBBS, MD. So there are opportunities to be a medical reviewer as well. So you would still be part of the ICSR case processing, but from a medical perspective. So mostly in, I would say 90% of the cases, it's better to understand PV first, which the understanding comes from ICSRs, and then you can divert yourself into aggregate reporting, signals, risks, and so on. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
More questions? You want to talk about careers, salaries, anything, placements?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have just recently completed my MPharm in pharmaceutics, but as a
Okay.
hobby, I also like to code. Programming languages, I like them. So, is there any way that I can combine my education and my hobby in pharmaceutical industry?
Yes, absolutely. So there is a career called pharmaceutical business analytics. Now, in the business analytics, there are two parts of the learning. The one part is you learn the core domain expertise, which is understanding the healthcare systems, understanding the competitive intelligence, forecasting models, uh, health economics outcomes research, patient level journey analytics. Now, in order to achieve all this, we use technology as well. So second element of the programs is the technology, where you use Python, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and then you integrate these technologies to do this. So for example, there's a very important area, patient level analytics. Now, when we are analyzing the you know efficacy of the drug, the value of the drug, and all things, we are also assessing how the patient journey took. So patient came for the cancer treatment, for example. He came first time for the you know OPD. From there onwards, we analyze the complete journey of the patient, right up to the patient who got cured with the cancer drug, but also is continuing with the treatment, or patient got terminated. Now, we before we invest in any drug, we do the analysis of the previous drugs, patient level analytics, and this is where a lot of technology is used today, and that's where the role of Python, SQL, Power BI, Tableau, all these technologies will come handy for you. And learning this as a part of the healthcare data science is extremely important. That's the future, I would say. That's the future which is moving towards that.
Thank you, sir.
Now, we all learn Python. We keep hearing about Python. But how do we apply Python in different industries, different areas of specialization, different situations? So Python is a language, but how do we utilize it? That's the most important. So every industry you may work with, retail industry, you may utilize in data science in a different perspective. But if you're in a healthcare or in pharmaceutical side, you may use it differently. So it's a time now to learn these skill sets, industry focused, rather learning journally Python. Now, what do we do by learning journally Python? We know we can't do much unless we know where is the application, how I use this application.
Hi, sir.
Hello, yes.
Sir, one of my friend is in Perixel, and she told me that Perixel has stopped hiring B pharmacy freshers. They are hiring M pharmacy freshers, and I am B pharmacy. So, is this true with other companies also?
Not at all. Not at all. That's a false information totally. The companies do hire people. We place B farms day in, day out. If you share your number here in the with us, you email us. We day in, day out place B farm students. Lots of B farm students are placed everyday basis. And that's not correct. And also, please do not make your dependency on one company ever. There are at least uh, 50 to 60, 70 companies, 100 companies which hire, and more in fact, if you include all the pharmaceutical companies, they are hiring people who are from the pharmacy background. So do not buy these things that people are not hired, B farms are not. We are placing B farm students day in, day out, both in PV and clinical research.
Yes, I got my answer. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
yeah, there. Don't, and please, there's always hearsay. You hear from here, hear from there. Come to experts, they will tell you that B farms are still hired. Not only still hired, they're one of the best students. They're hired by a lot of companies, in fact.
Yes, right. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Sir, as a fresher, can you break down the steps how to get into the clinical trial career opportunities?
Excellent. What is your qualification?
Sir, B pharmacy.
Your B farm. Okay.
Yes.
Now, as a B farm, one of the steps you can take is take up a program like this to learn basics. So, learn clinical research, regulations, guidelines, documents, project management, clinical data management, pharmacovigilance. How do we conduct clinical trials? Once you learn this, your next step would be to start working with a company into the clinical trial. So you will start your career in two ways. One, as a research coordinator, clinical research coordinator, that's the first entry level position um, in the industry where you will work as a CRC, or you work as a CTA, clinical trial assistant, clinical trial associate, where you learn the all entry cases of the trials on site. So how the trials are conducted on investigator side, how the monitoring happens, how the regulatory processes take place on site, how the ethics committee approvals are taken, what happens in the case of the SA, in the case of a serious adverse event or a AE happens on site, what do you do next step? So you will learn the foundation, the backbone of clinical trials on CRC as a CRC or as a CTA. Once you acquire that experience, you then move to CRA position, clinical research associate. Once you acquire 3 years experience, you can move to the position in a CRA. However, for a CRA, it is important that you should be ready to relocate, ready to work in multiple sites. You should be able to, travel. So a lot of roles and responsibility as a CRA, because you are responsible then for the marketing, for the monitoring of various clinical trials at various research sites. And then there's no looking back. You can become team lead, you can go into QA, you can go into project management, you go into the operations. There are a lot of methods you can then grow within the organization. And there's a long journey. It's not that your career will finish in 10 years. You can go right up to the CEO level position, as a vice president position, director level position, as the senior manager position. Nothing stops you as long as you are committed for your work, you are learning, you're not just a clock watcher who wants to work from 9 to 5 p.m. You are able to give commitment to the organization. You are ethical about your your work. You're ethically doing your work. Your performance is good. Nothing will stop you from growing into this industry. India, share of India in the global trials is still 7%, and we have a long way to go. Every year we are growing 12%. So imagine next 20 years, India will have at least 12 to 15% of the global market share. And that's a lot. That will, make this industry grow substantially. And people who are entering into this industry, and when I see Cliniminds students, they're doing extremely well. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of them are on senior positions in the company. So there's no reason you will not grow. You will grow substantially in the coming years.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, what will be the entry-level job positions in pharmacovigilance as a fresher, and what are the skills I should have or I should focus on? Because
Right.
I'm currently pursuing bachelor's of pharmacy, and I want to go into the pharmacovigilance field. That's why.
Okay. Excellent. So
Yeah.
entry level positions are generally as a drug safety associate, as a uh, trainee drug safety analyst, drug safety associate, pharmacovigilance associate, pharmacovigilance officer, pharmacovigilance executive. They all different names, but they do same thing. Their titles are different, their designations are different names. They in pharmacovigilance they work initially in, they start their career with the case triaging. They do not, you do not get straight away day one get into the case processing. First you need to learn the entire process, how the case is coming. You should be able to understand the triaging as the first step, very important step of triaging. Then you get into the case processing. You do the process entire case into the safety database, into the software, into the database. And then you learn submissions, you learn quality control. Now, the skills which you need to have is strong understanding of pharmacovigilance regulations. That's a very important part, is the regulations, PV regulations. Then understanding all terms, terminologies, definitions. so that you understand what means what definition, what this word means. Then you learn the case processing, ICSRs. Once you have learned the basics, you move towards the case processing, drug safety associate role, what they do. Now, case processing is not a small function. Case processing starts with triaging, then you need to understand the, SIOMs, how you bring the data from SIOMs into the case processing, how do you process the case in safety database, uh, how you do the MEDRA coding. Extremely important is the MEDRA coding skill set. And then narrative writing, how to write the narratives of the case. Narrative writing, uh, QC, you should be able to, once you grow, you will become QC, so that you can QC executive or a QC manager, where you will QC the cases to ensure that whatever has been done by the drug safety associate is right. The process, the method, the information which has been put in. Uh, then you grow into the more, you become team lead, you can go into the QA, you can go into the regulatory side, you can get into the acquire, if you acquire skills into the aggregate report writing, you can then get into the aggregate report writing skill set. Once you acquire a lot of years of experience, you can get ready for the signal detection uh, activities as well. So a lot of skill sets you will be able to learn uh, over the years. It's not something day one when you join the industry, you need to know everything 100%. No, you should understand regulations, you should understand the safety processing, case processing, you should understand terms and terminologies, you should be able to do meta coding, you should be able to write narratives. So these are some basic skills to get into, and then perhaps over the period you will acquire more skills as you grow.
Thank you so much, sir. Got my answer. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Hello, yes, please. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. Like, if we go to clinical research, and can I change my domain?
Yeah,
Like, if we
absolutely.
want to go to regulatory authority or PV.
Yes, absolutely. You can do that. You can start with your career in clinical research, then acquire regulatory affairs skill set, and then go into the regulatory affairs domain. Or if you want to, if you are a fresh graduate and you're already working, or you're working, and then you can acquire another, certification and acquire experience in drug regulatory affairs program, which we have. You can go into the regulatory domain as well. So nothing stops you. People keep changing careers from clinical research to pharmacovigilance. People go from clinical research to regulatory. People go from clinical research to business analytics. People go from regulatory to pharmacovigilance. People go from pharmacovigilance to regulatory. It, it's it's a very uh, open career. You can switch, but make your decision in timely manner, so that it's not that you spend 10 years in clinical trials, now you want to leave clinical. No, don't do that, because if you want to change career, take that decision slightly early. Okay, 10 years down the line, you acquire experience in pharmacovigilance, and then you say, no, I want to now quit pharma clinical research and want to do something else. You will not be able to, monetize your experience in clinical trials in any other sector,
Yes, yes, sir.
right? So, decision. As always, as a fresh graduate, my advice to everyone is take decisions fast. Today, you have a very little time to lose. And we in our role, we get to meet students who have spent 4 years, 5 years experimenting without working. So someone did B Farm in 2018, 2019. They started preparing for some government exam. They started doing some master's preparation, GPAT, but they did not really work or did anything substantial for 5 years. Now that's dangerous for your career. I'm using word very carefully, dangerous, because what will happen? You wasted these 5 years in doing nothing. You tried government exams, you did everything, but you didn't clear. Now, a lot of these things you can also, if you have an ambition of a government exam, please, you will have time in the evening to go and attend evening class and prepare for government exam. Work in clinical research, pharmacovigilance, data management, regulatory, business analytics, any field after your BSc, MSc, BPharm, MPharm, BDS, BHMS, BMS. But then weekends you will have evenings after 7:30 when you're free from the office. Today evening classes are available right up to 10 o'clock in the night. So go attend the government exam preparation in the night. Work hard, but do not take life easy. That's not something I would advise to students, because I deal with the students who have wasted 6, 7, 8 years doing nothing, and now they want to reboot their career as a fresher job. So start working immediately. Start getting into the industry, acquire some sort of a skill program, get into industry. We will help you in getting into the industry, but get into the industry fast, get some skill sets. Dr. Goel, you have some advice for the students.
Yeah, certainly. I think you have a very good point that it's important to understand what you want to get into and then inculcating it as your job as well as whatever it is that you do, maybe passion, right? So it's these are all related fields: clinical, PV, regulatory. They're all for life sciences graduates. But understanding where your most passion or most what you call interest lies is very important. So I think one should not go from stone to stone. Just develop one skill set where you want to be, and then you can do laurels, you can do wonders. So I think sky is the limit, as I always say, and inculcating your own skill set is very important.
Thank you, Dr. Goel. Thank you.
Hello, sir. In continuation with the previous question, I just want to ask, do you provide the replacement for such students means who want to switch their career like that?
Absolutely, that happens every. I mean, that's the part of our program. We get students who come with different background, and now they want to switch career. We offer them the right program, and then we help them into the placement side as well. So yes, we do help. To answer the question, of course we do. That's very important part of our organization.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah. Anyone would like to ask questions?
Hello, sir.
Hi, yes, please.
Sir, if I have experience of regulatory affairs in pharma company, then I can go after that experience in clinical research regulatory.
You can go into, but what kind of a regulatory experience you have?
No, means I'm planning to work firstly in regulatory affairs in pharma company.
Okay.
I'm an M-Pharm fresher currently.
Sorry, you are?
M-Pharm fresher.
You're M.Pharm fresher.
Yeah.
So I think I would say do not think this now. I think first find your feet. Let's say if you want to do regulatory, we have an excellent regulatory affairs program. It's a weekend program where you will work in, then you work in regulatory. Now you can go into the clinical trials regulatory, But getting into the clinical trial operation would be difficult as a CRA role because you're going into a specialized field in DRA. Now, in DRA, DRA is a very large domain. So if you're starting from a CRA, in a DRA as a drug regulatory affairs executive, you can move into the clinical trial regulation side. Yes, that's quite possible. The regulation is itself is a very large, I would say, domain. By the time you develop specializations, grow, it's a reasonably good journey. I would say it's a very exciting career in regulatory itself. So don't think about leaving and joining clinical research because clinical research word is fancy. No, do not do that. Because acquiring experience, good level experience in regulatory itself is a time consuming. You will take several years to even becoming a specialized candidate in.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You can ask questions because that will help you. Okay, if you do not have more questions, then Vinayak, you can display the numbers and email ID, WhatsApp number and email ID screen. And you can connect with us. We'll be shortly sharing some information with you.
Good, thank you.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Goyal. Thanks for your time today. I know it's a Sunday evening, and thank you for taking out your time today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.